The local reporters who pride themselves on telling it like it is have been exposed for doing the exact opposite. For months, a so-called insider, Kay Cabot, built her brand around tearing down Shadur Sanders before he ever took a real NFL snap. She called him a locker room distraction, a wasted draft pick, a kid who simply didn't belong in the league. But now, after the Browns season has gone off the rails and the quarterback room has turned into a disaster, that same reporter is suddenly doing a full-speed U-turn. And the receipts? They don't lie. They never do. Let's rewind the tape. All off-season long, Kay was relentless with her Browns coverage. Every press conference, every practice, every small rumor was magnified. And through it all, her crosshairs never left one target: Shadur Sanders. She didn't just question his readiness. She questioned his very legitimacy as a professional quarterback. Every time his name came up, her tone dripped with doubt. He doesn't belong here. Why did they even draft him? He's not processing the game fast enough. These weren't isolated takes. They were part of a steady drumbeat designed to shape public opinion before the kid even had a chance to prove himself. She compared him unfavorably to every other quarterback in camp: Joe Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel, anyone but Shadur. To her, everyone else processed better, read defenses quicker, or fit the system. It was an orchestrated takedown masquerading as analysis. And then, in a twist so wild it could only happen in sports media, the same Kay who'd been questioning Shadur's very existence on the roster went on a radio segment and called him, get this, elite. Suddenly, the guy who didn't belong had elite accuracy. Suddenly, the kid who couldn't process was always precise, always on display. She described him like she'd been secretly coaching him the whole time. The contradictions were staggering. One minute, she's mocking him for being a draft mistake. The next, she's praising his cannon touch and comparing him to Josh Allen. It was the kind of reversal that would make a politician blush. But let's not pretend this change of heart came from genuine revelation. It came from exposure. The Browns' quarterback carousel collapsed in real time. Pickett? Gone. Joe Flacco? Gone. Gabriel, the same rookie she hyped up endlessly, looked overwhelmed, lost, and painfully limited. Meanwhile, Sanders was quietly turning heads in practice, threading throws to backup receivers with pinpoint precision. His command, his poise, his accuracy, it was undeniable. Everyone inside that facility saw it. Kay saw it too. But instead of admitting she'd been wrong, she decided to rewrite her own narrative, pretending she'd been on the Shadur bandwagon all along. What makes this whole saga more infuriating is what it reveals about the media machine that feeds off these young players. Shadur Sanders didn't just have to compete for a roster spot, he had to fight through layers of bias and preconceived notions. The same tired stereotypes that have followed confident young black quarterbacks for decades. The jewelry, the swagger, the connection to Deion Sanders, all of it became ammunition for critics who refused to see what was right in front of them. Shadur wasn't being evaluated. He was being judged. Judged for how he carried himself, for who his father was, for not fitting neatly into the mold that certain journalists still expect from a professional quarterback. It's the same story told 1,000 different ways, different names, same bias. And now, when the Browns are drowning, when the season is slipping away, when the fans are demanding answers, suddenly the media decides to pivot. Now Shadur's talent is undeniable. Now he's natural. Now he's the savior waiting in the wings. But where was all that energy when it actually mattered? Where was that fairness during camp, when the public perception of this kid was being shaped by negative headlines and lazy talking points? Kay didn't want to see the talent until it became impossible to deny. Until the Browns' so-called safe options imploded. Until every excuse she'd built up burned down in front of her. Because let's be real, Gabriel isn't cutting it. His game is limited, conservative, and predictable. The Browns' offense has become a parody of itself, relying on checkdowns and short routes that never stretch the field. Defenses don't respect it, and you can't blame them. Gabriel's passes are sailing high or dying at receivers' feet. The timing is off, the rhythm non-existent, and the spark completely gone. Cleveland fans aren't stupid. They can see it. They're watching the same film. And more of them are asking the same question. Why is the one quarterback on the roster with elite accuracy and natural touch still holding a clipboard? Even opposing coaches are laughing. When the Steelers embarrassed the Browns, Mike Tomlin couldn't resist taking a jab. Andrew Berry must be a lot smarter than me, he said, smirking, because I'd never trade a starting quarterback after 4 games. Translation: Cleveland doesn't know what it's doing. The decisions, the rotations, the handling of their quarterbacks, it's chaos. And now, as the Browns spiral, Mary Kay's credibility is going down with them. But here's the poetic part. Through all of it, through the smear campaigns, the silence, the hypocrisy, Shadur Sanders has stayed patient. He hasn't lashed out. He hasn't gone on social media to clap back or feed the drama. He's done exactly what real professionals do: put his head down, work harder, and wait. And when his moment comes, and it will, he's going to prove every one of them wrong. Every pundit, every critic, every insider who called him a bust before he ever got a shot. Because the truth is, Shadur's been this guy the whole time. From Jackson State to Colorado, he's always been calm under pressure, methodical, efficient, and fearless. That 74% completion rate wasn't a fluke. It was skill. It was precision. It was proof of a quarterback who understands the game on a deeper level. And now, Cleveland finally has the chance to see what he can do at the highest level, if they're smart enough to give him the ball. This is bigger than one media personality's bad take. It's a reminder of how narratives shape careers, how a reporter's words can bury a player before the public ever sees the truth for themselves, and how quickly those same voices will rewrite history the moment they realize they picked the wrong side. But fans aren't forgetting this one. They've got the clips, the tweets, the segments. They've got the proof. And they'll be there when Shadur takes the field, not just to cheer him on, but to remind everyone who tried to tear him down. Because when Shadur Sanders finally gets his shot, and he will, the noise will stop. The doubt will fade. The headlines will flip again, but this time it'll be too late to pretend. He's going to make everyone remember exactly who he is. A quarterback who was built for this moment. A young man who stayed silent while others talked, who stayed focused while others doubted, and who let his game speak louder than any column or tweet ever could. Before you go, let's talk about it. Do you think the Browns will finally give Shadur Sanders the chance he deserves? Or will they keep playing it safe until it's too late? Drop your thoughts below, because this conversation is just getting started. And if you're tired of seeing the media twist narratives instead of telling the truth, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned. The receipts are coming, and this story is far from over.